Shalom, Yasha. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chadash. Double honors to beloved elders and the apostles, the great millstone that taught me this truth. Wa, peace, and salutations to all you hopeful lectakim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Mar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, just doing a quick news update on the Carmelo Anthony situation that went down at the high school in Texas. And this Jake, the story goes that this Jake was sitting on the bleachers, and some big brawly Edomite football players wanted to sit exactly where he was sitting, and there was a group of them. They started pushing him around, they probably bullied their way in, and pushed their way around until they started, getting in a physical confrontation. And then what happened was the Jake pulled out a knife and ended up unaliving one of the student big old brawly football players in high school that was going after him, And so the case was, his defense was self-defense, but everybody in the media was crying murder, bloody murder, when all this Jake was doing was minding his own business, and then Esau come fucking with him, which we understand judgment of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, who perish being innocent. But these are two parties being involved, because you being in Esau's system for life, getting a life sentence, might as well be, being unalived. But that's even worse. Me personally, speaking as a man, sitting in a box in a cell is worse than death. Especially if brothers have ever been in a situation where they had to spend, any amount of time, in the pinta or in jail, in county, or whatever the situation may have been. It's not pleasant, and it's very humiliating. So what happened was, this was an all-white jury, and we understand that when it's an all-white jury, they already have so-called predispositions that are looking at Jake in a negative light, especially for how much media and crybaby crocodile sob stories were from the high school students that didn't even tell the whole truth. And we know there's many cases like Emmett Till that was accused of just whistling at a so-called white woman, and at later years, when this bitch was on her fucking deathbed, she ended up saying that she lied about it, but no justice was served. As well as different accounts. I know there's the Manhattan Five, which Nero Trump was directly involved in getting them persecuted, which was a falsified story of 5 Jake that ended up being falsely accused of raping, a young white woman. So we understand that this is just one of Esau's tactical ways that he uses to divide and conquer and stir up the race war of what's already happening. And I'm just blowing the whistle right now. Expect riots. Expect, George Floyd type events in certain cities. I'm not going to say it's going to be at the highest level, but Jake is, and people in general are already stressed out and, on edge, and this could be something that really causes, Jake to act out, but we'll see. But this is just one of many examples, like I always say, and that I saw on a meme online that made me crack up. But it says the justice system is like bleach. It's great for whites, but horrible for coloreds. So we see that, in a joke, art imitates life in a way of laughing to keep from crying. Jake always finds a way to be the tail, the shorter end of the stick, which we understand is according to the curses. So, I'm going to read a verse right now from Isaiah 42 and 22, and then I'm going to play another clip, or a clip, from the NBC News, which is Fair Use Act. I do not own, the rights to the video, but, it's public domain. But this is Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. Because the false narrative of Esau always saying that Jake is only the so-called black man, specifically, that the so-called black man is only 13% of the population, but he makes 50% of the crime. That is a false statistic that has been proven wrong time and time again. But that doesn't even include all the false and mistrials charges that were dropped. And when you look at the flip side of the coin of how much crime these Edomites commit, over 80%, I would say 80% of the victims that the Edomites went over, and this was a video that I seen a minute ago. It might have been like closer to like 75%, but it was more than 3/4 that the crimes committed by Edomites, so-called white men, the victims were 75% ethnicity. So if they weren't touching on their own family, unaliving their whole family, they were doing something to Jake, which we know that hatred is here to this very day. This is Isaiah 42:22 again, but this is a people robbed and spoiled because all these nations take advantage of us. You just saw another Moabite get put away scot-free for murder, and he was pursuing a Jake that was accused of stealing 4 water bottles. And that's what he was saying. You stole 4 water bottles. And when he put the 4 water bottles back and ran out because he ended up having a gun on him, then it was the time that that Moabite ran after him, because we all saw the video, and they gunned him down right there in the parking lot. Robbed and spoiled. No justice system for the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. This is Isaiah 42:22 continuing. They are all of them snared in holes. These are these different traps that Esau has out. Whether you get caught with a dime bag of weed, whether you get caught driving without a tail light. Oh, your registration is expired. Oh, this Edomite's gonna home invade your house, but because he didn't take a step in your door, he was just kicking down your door, and you blasted him out in your front doorstep because he was about to go in. Oh, now you're charged for murder. We have no benefit of the doubt when it comes to Esau's justice system. We get looked at in the worst ways, and I personally have seen that in real time, and a victim of it myself, but everything is a learning experience, and call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that we have this truth. This is Isaiah 42:22. They are for a prey and none delivereth, because like the parable in Matthew that describes Lazarus and the rich man, and Lazarus getting his sores that was inflicted by the rich man licked by these dogs. And these dogs are representation of these other nations taking advantage of Jake in their low estate. Continuing, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey and none delivereth, for a spoil and none saith restore. Because every time Jake starts to talk about unity, coming together, building up each other, it's always demonized. It's deemed a domestic terrorist organization, a domestic you-know-what organization. Whatever it may be, we don't get the benefit of the doubt that we're trying to raise our community. No, we're scrutinized, intense surveillance. All these brothers' pages are being monitored. And we're still here exposing this man, lifting up the skirt. That's going to be my next scripture. Lift up skirt, KJV. It's in Isaiah, I believe, too. Nahum 3:5. My apologies. Nahum 3:5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Because as this man is completely doing nothing on those names that are on the files, he's openly condemning a Jake for defending himself. Not to mention the crimes against humanity, not just humanity, the crimes against the Israelites that this man has done since he's been in power. Since he stepped foot on this land, he has been a walking death trap. From the air that he expunges out of his lungs is toxic to the indigenous Israelites that were here back in 1492 when this devil first put his crusty foot on this land. his dirty, stinking, doo-doo smelling, fucking pasty, sunburn ass skin, man. Lobster smell everywhere they went, man. You know, these people have been a walking disease, and this is just another example. You know, and I know I said I wanted to make this real quick, but hey, man, you know, expect things to get riled up. Judah riled up, lion's whelp. This is Judges 1 and 2. It's like no. Who will rouse him up? Because Judah is a lion whelp, man. All it takes is Judah to get active, man, and ultimately, you know, it's gonna be the head vibration, you know, putting out that frequency, and all the other tribes are gonna follow suit. You know, this is Genesis 49 and 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He is stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Because Jake has been Stockholm syndrome, coonized, house nigga-ized, all patriotic-ized, foundational black American-ized, and he is rejecting the prophets that are telling him that he's from the Lion of Judah, you know, from the tribe of Judah, you know, but they want to hold on to being black, you know, being a nigga, being a real nigga, man. We those niggas, man. You know, like Deacon and Hassad out there, and the scandal that they're in. You know, the pride, you know, of the head tribe. But once that all changes, once the elect and all the other tribes are in unison, hey, man, you know, it's on. You know, just like the Rodney King riots, you know, just like the George Floyd riots, you know, things could get active and they could snowball into a major event. And Esau could use whatever event to spark that. You know, but ultimately, this is all part of prophecy, you know, and we'll see and we'll stand by and wait to see what this develops into, because it might just be nothing. Because, like, if these people weren't going crazy over the Epstein files, I highly doubt that they're going to lose their mind over the Carmelo Anthony case. But this is just another example and showing you that the justice system, again, is like bleach. It's great for whites, but horrible for colors. You know, so, you know, Lord willing that this lesson was edifying. You know, Salakia did a little bit more ranting than, you know, bringing some of these articles that I wanted to. You know, but I didn't want to make this lesson too long, straight to the point. And as you can see, you know, one or two witnesses, which are the scriptures. Hey, man, and the point is proven. So, Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim Chachdash, and double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. While peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect talking out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.